الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. We are still discussing the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with respect to sleeping. Last week we mentioned some of the karahiyah, that is something that is dislikable in the deen when it comes to sleeping. And inshallah we shall continue from there tonight. Last week we quoted the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that dislikes one sleeping with one's stomach. And inshallah tonight we'll look into some of the karahiyah also that we have, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam directed us towards. One of them is karahiyatun nawmi ala satahin laysa alayhi hajizun. Karahiyatun nawmi ala satahin laysa alayhi hajizun. It is dislikable in the deen. It is not allowed shar'an to sleep on a roof that does not have a barricade. A roof, like the top of the building, that does not have a barricade, a guide. And if we look at this hadith, Islam comes to protect even ourselves, our soul. One of the maqasid al-sharia is ifzu an-nafsi, protecting the mind itself. The hadith is telling us that it is not permitted or it is dislikable to sleep on a roof that does not have barricade. Because what? When you sleep and the sleep is so deep that, sometimes some of us, Allah has blessed us with sleeping, that when we sleep, we don't know what is happening again. Sometimes we sleep here, by the time we wake up there. It's possible. It's possible. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma, may Allah be pleased with them both, he said, Naha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam أن ينام الرجل على سطح ليس بمحجور عليه. على سطح ليس بمحجور عليه. The Prophet ﷺ prohibits a man from rajul. Al-rajul here, it takes care of man and woman. Prohibits one to sleep on a roof that does not have a barricade. Because when you sleep on a roof that does not have a barricade, and you roll, and at the end of the day, you roll down of the roof, and that is death. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us this to protect our soul. In fact, there are some other narrations that says if that person dies, it's just like the person dies. The zimma of the Prophet ﷺ is not upon the person again, because he has left the teachings of the Prophet by not using a barricade or sleeping where it's safe. The Prophet ﷺ wants us to be safe at all time, to be protected at all time. And that is why our Sahabi, Jabir ibn Abdullah, said he heard from the Prophet ﷺ saying this. The hadith is in At-Tirmidhi, hadith 2854. Also, it doesn't stop there. There are some things that are also dislikable that the Prophet ﷺ taught us. كراهية فتح الباب والأواني قبل النوم. كراهية فتح الباب والآنية قبل النوم. It is dislikable to open the door and the plates, maybe the pots or the vessels where you have some food placed in. It is dislikable in the deen to open your door at night, or to open those pots where you have food inside them, or those plates that you have food that are still edible inside them to leave them open at night. This is the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the hadith to this could be found in Al-Bukhari, and it could also be found in Muslim, which means the hadith is muttafaqun alayh, grade number 1. And what does it say? It's same Jabir ibn Abdullah that reported this incident from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا كَانَ جُنْحُ اللَّيْلِ, when the night is approaching, جُنْحُ اللَّيْلِ, that is the first part of the night, أَوْ أَمْسَيْتُمْ, the hadith comes, or when it's in the evening, the first part of the night. فَكُفُّوا سَبِيَانَكُمْ, the Prophet ﷺ said, make sure your children are taken away from, like you take them away from outside. You don't let them play around when it is first part of the night. Are we getting this? فَكُفُّوا سَبِيَانَكُمْ, the Prophet ﷺ said, your children, let them go inside after Maghrib, after Salatul, when sun sets, the first part of the night. Make sure that your children are inside. They don't play around. The Prophet ﷺ tells us the reason. فَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ تَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ, because the shayateen, the satans, the evil ones, they are outside at that time. That period of time when the first hour of the night comes in. Let your children go inside, because the shayateen are outside at that period. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ سَاعَةٌ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَخُلُّوهُمْ, إِذَا سَاعَةٌ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَخُلُّوهُمْ. If, and sa'a here does not mean 60 minutes. You know, we usually, in my country, there is this, is like a poem, 60 seconds, make 1 minute, 60 minutes, make 1 hour. Sa'a here, scholar said, is not actually 1 hour, as we may think. It could be some hours of the night. Once the night is, you know that this is actually night. It's not the first hour again. فَخُلُّوهُمْ, you can let them go outside at that time. So the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, after sunset, to Aisha, some period of Bain al-Maghrib wal-Isha, take your children inside. But after Aisha, maybe, you know, it's because the statement Sa'a, scholars, they don't have a particular stipulation for that. Is it 1 hour? Is it 2 hours? 3 hours? 4 hours? But what the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ say is that once is first part of the night, make sure they go inside, and once that hour, you count some hours, then they can go outside and you can release them. The Prophet ﷺ says, فَأَغْلِقُوا الْأَبْوَابِ. This is what we want to say. If you want to go sleep, make sure all your kitchen utensils, your pots, everything, you check them. The Prophet ﷺ says, فَأَغْلِقُوا الْأَبْوَابِ. Start from closing the doors. Don't leave the door open. وَاذْكُرُوا إِسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ. There is no alayh. وَاذْكُرُوا إِسْمَ اللَّهِ, but actually is alayh. When you are closing the door, make sure you do tasmiyah. You say Bismillah. Bismillah while closing the door. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانِ, because the Satan لَا يَفْتَحُ بَابًا مُغْلَقًا. Satan will not open the door that is closed. But when the door is left open, Satan comes in. You can see that. But the Prophet ﷺ says, once the door is closed, they cannot open the door that is closed. وَأَوْكُوا قِرَبَكُمْ, your reservoir of water. Qirab, make sure you cover them. وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ, when you're doing that, say the name of Allah. Say Bismillah. وَخَمِّرُوا آنِيَتَكُمْ, your plate, where you have your food and everything, cover them. وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ, mention the name of Allah. وَلَوْ أَن تَعْرُضُوا عَلَيْهَا شَيْئًا, even if you have nothing, maybe there's nothing to cover those things. Maybe it's something, that thing is not covering it well. Just put something on it. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Just use something to, in fact, in another rewire, it says if it is just like a kind of stick, just place it on it. So to show how important, we shouldn't leave all of these things. And the Prophet ﷺ lastly says, وَأَطْفِئُوا مَصَابِحَكُمْ, and make sure you extinguish the light. That is, you switch it off. You don't sleep with the light on. This is the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. Some of these things we don't do them. Once we are feeling asleep, we just go to bed. So these are some of these dislikable acts. Don't leave the door open. Don't leave the pot open. Even if you ate a food and you cannot finish it, don't just leave it open. Use something to cover it. This is the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, we'll stop here tonight and we'll continue from here in our next class. Before I stop, there was a question raised regarding the brother is not here, brother Kareem. When someone's sick, mashallah, the way brother Amir is sitting now, what is the ruling of the Prophet ﷺ regarding that? The hadith that talks about that, I said it that night, is the hadith regarding Juma. I didn't say issues. You can continue. Because you don't know what I want to say. Maybe it's haram or halal. So the hadith is regarding Juma in particular, that when one is in Juma, one should not sit and do like this. But scholars of hadith, we have two parties. Some of them said hadithun da'if, that is not authentic at all. While some said it is authentic. Look at our brother the same way. That kind of sitting is actually, maybe comfortable. But the comfortability in the sitting could be the reason why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade. If the hadith was to be sahih. Because when one sits like this, there is high tendency that you sleep. I think Imam al-Nawawi was of the opinion that the hadith is sahih, and he gave some instances. But some scholars, they looked into the hadith and they said is not sahih. Ala ayyi hal, regardless of where you want to belong, whether it's da'if or sahih, anything that would lead to sleeping while the khutbah is going on Jum'ah, just leave it. Okay? And if it is possible that you don't sit like that, okay, try not to sit like that. But the statement of scholars is not uniform regarding the hadith. Some are of the opinion that is sahih, some are saying it is not sahih. And based on the narrators and the chain and all of that. So this is not the class of hadith that will be talking and the narrator said so. But this is just a simple analysis about the hadith. And I think I answered the brother's question. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.